Hey guys, Pete here, HVAC Greatness. Listen, we've been hinting around this for months now, even years, but it's time to talk about the elephant in the room. And most of your competition is not going to survive this. Stick around. This one is important. Hey guys, Pete here, HVAC Greatness. I've called this one 3 Mistakes to HVAC Business Failure. And this is probably talking about 23, 24, and at least the near future. Guys, nobody's really talking about this. There is a big change that's happening across the United States, across the world, and a lot of people are in trouble, big trouble. And if you've been paying attention, then you may have been taking some proactive steps personally. So maybe storing some things and protecting your wealth and your investments and things like this. And this is really important. But really, one of the biggest assets that you need to be taking care of right now is your business. This is your source of revenues. And what's happening is small businesses are being attacked. The middle class is being squeezed out. We're going into a 2-tier society. At least that's where they're trying to push us, but hopefully we'll stick together and push back. But if you're not paying attention to this, this may come as a bit of a surprise. Hopefully we'll see how this ages with time as we record here on the 21st of August, 2023. But guys, it's going to get tough out there. And I think with what we've been doing with HVAC Greatness and structuring an identity that can stand apart and stand the tests of all these different difficulties, I think we need to actually add more to that. And that's what we're going to be working on going forward. But the bottom line is, as they squeeze the middle class, and you're going to see distribution issues only get worse. We're going to see inflation continue to rise, and we're going to see other categories. Maybe it's deflation, maybe it's a recession, maybe it's some type of hybrid new thing. We're going into uncharted waters here, but as a business owner, we have the responsibility to make sure we protect our business. And that means doing things differently, not doing things as we always have. And I wanted to talk to you about that real briefly today. We'll keep this one kind of short. But number one, looking to the past to build the future. Most of the business strategies out there, if you take any business training and things of this nature, they're teaching you how to duplicate successful business models. But guess what? We don't live in that world anymore. And I'm not saying that you throw the whole thing out. There's certain key elements that we're going to want to maintain, but there's a lot of things wrong with that business model, as we'll see, and time will show that we're not dealing with the same mindset. Employees, for example, you may have had some hard times getting good employees, right? We're seeing less and less people wanting to work in the same way. Well, people's mindset have changed. They don't want to be just another cog in your wheel, and they would like to have a life. They want some balance, and they want to enjoy what they're doing. And let's face it, our work is not easy work. Now, when times get really tough, people are going to do what they have to do. And this is where you're going to see competition to start to creep in. Side job Bob, all the shade tree mechanics and weekend warriors out there are going to start to come in and go after your business. And because their prices are cheaper, they're going to get a good percentage of those. So if we're going to build a business model that's going to succeed in the future, we have to look at the changes that's been taking place and start to make an adjustment. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a tip right now. Number one is you don't want to just be X Heating and Air. If you are just a heating and air conditioning company in your public's mindset, then you are a commodity. Then it becomes about, and you'll know this, it becomes about the equipment and price. The other brand is selling the same model of equipment as you, and their price is better. So I need to go with them because you are a commodity. There's nothing special about you. That's kind of what they are assuming, and therefore you have to be able to communicate something different. So where does that begin? It needs to begin at your brand identity. And understand that marketing used to be synonymous with advertising, but it's not. Direct marketing is advertising, right? That's that thing that you can do, and you have a budget, you can measure the return on your results. We're talking about a deeper marketing. We're talking about brand marketing. We're talking about it positioning yourself in your market as something unique, something special, something worth a little bit more, or at least something worth searching out, because I want that in my home. I want you in my home, not just Joe's Heating and Air, Bob's Heating and Air, or especially the Weekend Warrior, in which if I'm an experienced consumer, I've been burnt before, I don't want just anybody working on my stuff. So being professional is going to be an important part of that. Most of your competition knows that consumers buy for emotional reasons. And the emotion that's most powerful is price. And that's the only one that they know how to influence. So what they're going to do, they're going to drop their prices, not you. If you do that, that's a race to the bottom. And best case scenario, you win. Worst case scenario, you come in second place at that race to the bottom. You know what I'm saying? So that's not the way to go about it, but it's going to be really tempting. So you need to be doing your strategy now. Okay. Leads to number 2, relying on existing customer base and quality work to carry you through. You are going to experience something called attrition. Attrition is where your existing customer base starts to shrink. People die, people move, they move their business to somebody else. They can't afford you anymore. So it's going to start to shrink. You have to have something in place that is going to replace them with new customers. And a good strategy is going to allow you to do that so that you're attracting not just anybody with heating and air, but the right type of customers. We call this your ultimate customer avatar. It's not on this one, but that's what the customer represents, your ultimate customer avatar. These are customers that your products and services were designed for. You see, you're not just heating and air. You stand for something. You're different, and you are dialed into that, and the customers respond to that. So marketing becomes a very important part of that, not just relying on the customer base that you have, because that is going to reduce. The other B part to that is relying on your quality work and people to get out there and just brag on how great your work is. You see, you can explain to me, and I will appreciate your processes for the technical part of the work. Maybe you do a load calculation. Maybe you assess a structure's actual needs in terms of sensible and latent capacities. Maybe you design an air distribution system, a ductwork system that distributes air throughout the structure in the proper way, and you get the throw across the room, you have the right velocity, you get good dehumidification control, you get all that dialed in. I'll appreciate that because you took the time to do a manual J and maybe a manual D, and you checked the static pressure, and you went through and you fixed all the old issues with the duct system, for example, or even just a simple repair. You nitrogen purged as you were replacing that device. You put in a proper filter dryer. You pulled a good vacuum, and you got really a clean job in there, and you braze really well, leak free. You know, you and I can look at that and we can say, wow, that's a quality job. Your customer doesn't see quality that way. They see quality in different ways. They'll assume that you do great work because you speak a little bit more professional. You dress a little nicer. Your van's a little cleaner, right? Your communication is a little better. And they perceive that as quality person, quality work. Okay. Clean van, clean work. Clean uniform, clean work, right? And these are the things, that's the B part. So it's not just about the quality work. It is also about the customer experience. Now, the customer experience has been played hard by the hustler type businesses out there. These guys that have built business models exclusively on the change out, high GP change outs, right? Residential change outs, 1-day change outs. They go in there and they're making $6,000, $8,000, $1,000 per crew hour GP on these type of replacements. And when you compare that to what a service call makes, a service technician, it's not very profitable. Well, we're seeing the business starting to skew. Less replacements, more repairs. So now what are you going to do? Right now, all the overhead and everything that you've built that on, what is that going to start to look like? I'm telling you, it's changing, guys. Things are going to be shifting. There's going to be inventory issues. There's going to be people with money issues. Maybe they make the same money, but because of inflation, it doesn't go as far. So their discretionary spending is much less. Nobody is planning for these types of things, so it catches them off guard. They're going to do the minimum thing, things like this. This is what's starting to play. So on that number two, do not depend on your existing customer base alone, as well as your quality work. You're going to have to go deeper with your strategy. And the marketing is not just external, or I should say direct in terms of advertising. It's also internal with your processes, with your branding, and with your key messaging. That leads to number three, relying on the weather as well as marketing agencies to fill your schedules. This is the hard part of our business. This is probably the hardest part of our business. We rely on the weather, and sometimes, like this summer particularly, I've seen a lot of companies in different parts of the market. Some of them never saw a bump in the road. Others started to see this thing pull back, especially in tighter economical communities. Depending on where your business is set up, if there's a lot of money in that area, maybe you didn't feel it. But if you're in a tighter, lower income area, you're starting to see people pull their purse strings, right? They're pulling back. Some people aren't even electing to do the work this summer. I think I'll wait until next summer. Let's just let it go. My heat is okay. So what do you do to that? How do you handle that? So guys, things are changing. Okay. We're seeing the weather isn't driving as much. Marketing agencies, it always will drive it, but we're seeing an effect on that. The marketing agencies, I mean, how are you going to take all of your marketing dollars and just give it to somebody because they're good at positioning a message in front of people online or wherever they happen to be in your marketing towards? I'm speaking primarily of online. And the assumption is that because they're experts at SEO and getting a good message in front of the customers and getting your phone to ring, that's enough. But I'm telling you, it's not enough. Because if you haven't noticed, some of these leads that come in are pretty crappy, right? They're good at getting the attention, and what they're doing is they're getting reimbursed for getting your phone to ring. At that point, that's on you, says Mr. Digital Marketer, right? And you know what? Good for them, because you haven't taken the work to create a true marketing strategy and speak to something deeper so that you attract more of a specific type of customer. If you've heard me on previous sessions, I call this dog whistle marketing. I forget who I picked that up from, but it was really brilliant. So when you blow a dog whistle, that's what you hear, right? You and I can't hear that, but those dogs can hear it. And they'll come out of the woodworks. Dogs will come everywhere because it's made for them. Now, when your marketing has strategy in it and it's made for a certain type of customer and it speaks directly to them, not only do they respond, but it has a deeper resonance within them and they respond more powerfully. It's more effective on them because you're not just preaching low price heating and air. You're speaking to something that's deeper. What is that? Well, now you're going to have to determine what that is. We go through a whole program here on doing this, and I know this sounds like the old switcheroo, but the fact of the matter is, all you have to do is think it through. Okay, the economy's tight. Some people just don't have the money. They're going to be desperate. They're going to do whatever they have to do, and that means probably going to Side Job Bob or the Shade Tree Mechanic or the Weekend Warrior and rolling those dice, and hopefully they can get that unit running. Other people who have a little bit of money, they're going to be more careful in how they spend it. So they're going to want to know that they're getting return on their investment. They're going to want to know that they're getting a quality, or let's say a technically competent individual in front of them that is honest, not going to take advantage of them or try to rip them off and try to sell them something they don't want or play this constant upsell game. They're looking for something more genuine. So what we've done in HVAC Greatness is built around that. We've been doing this for quite some time. We call it the consultative service call, the consultative sales call versus traditional sales. People hate to be sold to, but they do like to buy. And so what we have to do is change our strategies and use psychology in order to allow them to feel comfortable with you, with your solutions, with your program, with your processes, with your team. And these will convert much greater. And so we go through this as part of the process with HVAC Greatness. You need to jump in if you're not already doing that, or if you're not already have an advanced degree in this type of stuff. But I'm telling you, I grew up old school. My business was based on my skill set. Now, fortunately, I had a little bit of charisma, and people trusted me because I could look them in the eye, and I could hold a conversation, and I spoke with a little bit of competency, about what I'm doing. And I had the ability to explain it in the way that they understood. And so I had a lot of success, right? And when I sold my business after 10 years, and for those of you who've sold a business, you can attest to this, it went down because it didn't have the leadership in order to be successful. So what does this business model look like going forward? I think it's going to be a lot leaner. I think your KPIs are going to change, your key performance indicators. Key performance indicators are these little metrics that we compare against all the successful companies across the country. They tend to be really similar. For example, overhead on HVAC business might be 30% or less as a general rule. We may see that go less than 20%. We may see that the owner's salary may be 5% of gross revenues, right? $1 million company is $50,000 a year. It's not much money. But you make money in the net profit, right? You make money when you rent your building back to yourself. You make money in a number of different ways. But now we have to analyze, fuse all that together and really tighten our belt, perhaps. Maybe right not this minute, but it's coming. And if you start to build it now, you'll be prepared for when it comes. Now, the other thing is your discretionary income, your marketing funds. Okay, how much money do you have to go out there and advertise against these big companies with bigger budgets and deeper pockets, or these investment organizations that have all this capital that they're infusing in because they went and decided to get into essential services, heating and air conditioning type or trades like plumbing, electrical, HVAC. And now all of a sudden they've got more money than you and they can out advertise you. You got to beat them at their game. That means having a better key message, a better identity, something that resonates on a deeper level. And they don't understand that. And they don't understand all the intricacies, all the ins and outs of our business. Having a hard time today. So you have an advantage, but you're going to have to stop just depending on yourself and expand out and learn other things. You need to be your marketing strategist, not rely on a digital marketing agency. You'll use them, but you bring the strategy to them and you tell them, this is what we're doing. This is the message that I'm sending. I want to send, we call these digital marketing currencies. I want to go after these different types. And here's my strategy. Let's rotate through these. Let's measure these and see which ones are getting the results. Maybe you set up different phone numbers. There's a lot of different strategies on that perhaps you're already utilizing. And if you're a one-man operation and you're just getting started, it's kind of a two-edged sword. You've got an advantage, but you also have a disadvantage. And I think we need to do something special for you guys in terms of helping you guys come together and get through this, because you're going to need to survive as well. You're going to be the provider, not just for your home, but also your future employees, and take care of your customers. And when you can strike that balance where you're really taking care of yourself, not selfishly like these high GP pricing companies that are just profits. And, I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying it's changing between you and then also taking care of your team, your employees. You want people that you can keep. You're going to have to be conscientious to their new needs. It's not the old business model anymore. That's changing. And then, of course, the big one, number 3, is your external customers, the actual clients of yours. So that we're going to have to really speak to them. We're going to have to communicate to them, because the equipment can be as happy as a lark when you leave. But if that customer doesn't feel it's warm and fuzzies, you're not coming back. The customer experience is key, as is the equipment experience. But we're going to have to do a better job. We're going to have to separate ourselves, and we're going to have to market ourselves in a unique position that allows us to stand head and shoulders out to our specific market. And if you're doing it right, some people will stop calling you. Only these type of people will. Stop attracting everybody and start attracting somebody. That means getting very specific on your marketing. Okay, I'm going to wind it down at this point. Hopefully this made sense, guys. Stay tuned. We're going to be preaching this a lot. We're going to roll out some programs and stuff. You may want to get involved in this. Okay, we all have to make money on this. Open up your wallet, invest in yourself, and get the return. I did it. I spent thousands of dollars learning what I learned. I studied directly under Ron Smith himself, the Godfather. HVAC spells wealth. That's where I start. That's where it all began. I said in his class, it was so good. I went back the next year and I did another program. And then I went to Dr. Ron Collier. And then I went into all these other training programs like the accounting, like Ruth King. She's still out there. Great at accounting. You need to start getting these skill sets and get better at other aspects of your business than just the technical aspect. You need to understand your numbers and your accounting. You need to understand marketing particularly well, and you need to understand your craft, and you need to be better than everybody else. So that's why I was saying, if you're just a one-man operation, that's a little difficult unless you've already got gained that experience by working with somebody else, and you're a really good person that you can be some type of a specialist. Now you've got something to work with. Okay. Light commercial, we're seeing a pullback on that. Residential, we're going to see a shift in the middle class. They're going to be pulling back. So we've got some stuff to talk about. So anyway, winding down again, Pete Ramsey here, HVAC Greatness. You guys be careful out there and stay tuned. There's a lot more to come. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.